Hello and welcome back to the Know It Alls Talk Ball podcast. I'm here with Juan. We've got a great video lined up for you today, one that we're both really looking forward to. Yeah. I'm sure that if you're a football fan, you've heard that it is time to vote for the Premier League Hall of Fame inductees. There's 15 nominees to choose from, and we're going to go through. You get 3 votes. You can. It's a public vote, so you guys can go vote as well. But yeah, we're going to run through our 3 picks of who we think should be in there. And Juan, who's actually in there for the nominees? What have we got?
All right, so we got 15 names, like you said, all standard Premier League legends, all of them greats, but only 3 votes. The 15 for this year are Tony Adams, Sol Campbell, Michael Carrick, Petr Cech. I'll just go through them.
Are you trying to do this like Oscar?
Andy Cole for Arsenal and Chelsea.
And the winner is
Jermaine Defoe. No. Jermaine Defoe, Les Ferdinand, Rio Ferdinand, Robbie Fowler, Gary Neville, Michael Owen, John Terry, Yaya Toure, and Nemanja Vidic. Those are all the 15 players that were nominated for this year. I hope they are 15 because...
it should be. I mean, that's the list.
Yeah. So we decided that, we're going to pick our own. We're going to cast our own votes for everybody to criticize whether we are right or wrong if these 3 players need to be.
We're right.
We're the know-it-alls.
Yeah, exactly.
And speaking of know-it-alls, Jason, who is your first nominee?
So I'm going to dive into the one that I thought was probably the biggest no-brainer on that list,
okay.
And that is the man John Terry.
Yeah, that's also my no-brainer.
Yeah.
I also kind of did it like that. My no-brainer is John Terry.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at his career, how long it spanned, he is a 5-time Premier League champion. He's also a 5-time FA Cup winner, which I know doesn't factor into
because it's just Premier League, right?
Premier League Hall of Fame.
Premier League Hall of Fame.
But I'm gonna run through his accomplishments in any way. 5-time FA Cup winner, Champions League, Europa League, and 3-time League Cup winner as well, just to add to it. He has been a 4-time PFA Team of the Year. He's been in the FIFA Pro XI 5 times. UEFA Defender of the Year, Club Defender of the Year 3 times.
Yeah.
And in the PFA Team of the Century. So he's quite something. I was
surprised he wasn't in it already, if I'm honest.
I guess it's only been there for a few years, and I don't know that they really go on a basis of we're going to put the best players in first.
Yeah, and since it's a public vote.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a very good chance. He wasn't the most popular bloke, was he? So he might not even make it in.
No, especially if the majority of the people voting are in England, and he did have kind of a weird England career, like a lot of issues going on, the Wayne Bridge incident.
Controversies, a little bit of racist stuff as well, which you can expect for a man who's spent like 15 years at Chelsea. But
which, speaking of that,
but I'm not condoning that.
No. But speaking of staying for so long at Chelsea, all those trophies that you mentioned, 15 major total honors for John Terry, all as captain. As Chelsea captain.
They pretty much started winning when he became integral to that squad.
Exactly. Yeah. And first year as captain, best defensive record in Premier League history.
Was it that first season that under Jose?
Yeah, only conceded 15 goals. He was PFA Players Player of the Year that season. And it's just the greatest defense of all time, and he marshaled it. He also came 10th in the Ballon d'Or that year. I mean, it's not that impressive, but still for a center back.
I think when you also look at just his Premier League record in terms of appearances, so he's got 492 appearances, which is huge.
And Chelsea's all-time record in
Chelsea,
Premier League, at least. Yeah.
And then he's got 311 wins to 74 losses. That is a ridiculous... a ridiculous rate of return. Yeah. I mean, he's also scored 41 goals as a defender in the Premier League.
The highest ever for a defender.
He was so integral to every Chelsea team that won. And I don't think that you can argue with him being the number 1 pick
of Chelsea. Yeah. Like without, Chelsea now have 6 Premier League titles. 6 English First Division titles. 5 of them our Premier League titles. Does that
Okay.
make sense what I just said? Yes. And
Yeah.
John Terry captained 5 of them, sure. The last one with Conte, he barely played, but
Yeah.
he's still the captain of that team.
You know what we're talking about him not playing that much in that game. I was reading through his Wikipedia page, and at the bottom there's a little thing in popular culture, and so apparently when they won the was it the 12-13 Champions League?
Yeah, 2012. Final,
Yeah. When they won that, he was suspended.
Yeah.
But man comes on in his full Chelsea
just
kit
for that,
to lift the trophy.
It's hilarious.
And he did this. He did the same when they won the Europa League.
He just hated to play finals.
Yeah.
He loved to win them though, but didn't like to play them.
But apparently there's a bunch of memes of him like turning up at big in full kit at big historical like events. So someone's photoshopped him in to when the Berlin Wall fell, and just all these other big historic when Kennedy was assassinated. Just him
John
having
Terry was
that.
there in full kit.
Yeah,
Full
exactly. But yeah, in terms of his accomplishments, I don't think anyone is going to argue with us
No.
putting him there and putting him in as the first
The
outright.
no-brainer.
Yeah, the no.
And I also think the fact that one of his greatest accomplishments was the last league title that Jose Mourinho won, where at age 33 he started all 38 games, played every single minute of every single game.
that is insane.
He was ridiculous that year. Let's move on to somebody who I think should also be kind of a no-brainer in my opinion.
Okay.
I'm going to bring forward Ashley Cole.
Wow. Okay, this isn't something I don't have him on my
You
list.
don't have Ashley
I
Cole.
don't have him
Okay,
in
let
there.
me give you the case for why this the best Premier League left back of all time deserves to be in it. And quite frankly, maybe one of the best left backs to ever play the game of football. He was very good going forward. He doesn't have the stats that maybe like the Trents or Andy Robertson do, but
the game has
which
completely
fullback-
changed over the
exactly,
last
which
10 years as
fullbacks
well,
have
yeah.
those stats anyways. And he was just so good going forward, so good going back, was integral to an invincible side that he won the Premier League with. He won 3 Premier Leagues, 2 with Arsenal, 1 with Chelsea. He's the all-time, like we said, we're not going to talk about the other stuff he's won, but he has won a Champions League with Chelsea. He's also the player who's won the FA Cup the most times ever. He won it 7 times. That is insane. Winning, I think, 4 for Arsenal and 2 for Chelsea. And yeah, he's a 4-time Team of the Year, PFA Team of the Year, 2-time Chelsea Player of the Year, a Fantasy Team of the 20 season. So after 20 Premier League seasons, Ashley Cole was voted as the best left back in the last 20, in the first 20 Premier League years. And yeah, he was just amazing from age 19 till age 32. And always competing in the Champions League, always at the highest of levels, starting for Premier League winning sides and Champions League winning sides. Well, actually, I don't think he played in that one. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I think he really deserves to be there because as a left back, maybe as a full back, there hasn't been a better player than Ashley Cole in the Prem.
You know what? I actually, now that I'm looking at it, I don't think I can really argue your decision at all, but I have gone with someone else.
Okay.
Also an Invincible, and that is Sol Campbell. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I think okay. Why?
Yeah. 2-time Prem winner, 2-time FA Cup winner, Invincible, obviously. Yeah, I mean, he played a lot of his career at Spurs, so you're not going to win anything there.
no.
But he did win something there. He won the League Cup.
Okay,
with
for
them.
that alone, he beats Ashley Cole. Ashley Cole never did it at White Hart Lane.
Yeah.
You can't call him the GOAT.
But no, this guy, you know, he won something at Spurs and then had the presence of mind to be like, I'm out. This is it. This is good enough for me. League Cup, see you later. And then I think in his second season there, you know, was the sort of the final cog in that Arsenal team to make them invincible. I don't think because there's another Tony Adams.
Tony Adams.
He was also in that invincible team, playing a bit of a lesser role because I think that was his last season before he retired, actually. But yeah, the partnership in that was actually Kola Toure and Sol Campbell. And yet, part of the reason why I've got him in there is I've seen a bit of him playing, and I really like the way that he played as a defender.
He was a great center
Yeah,
back.
he was really good.
He was awesome.
He was actually decent coming out of the back as well with the ball compared to a lot of other defenders in that time. So yeah, he's 503 appearances, 212 wins. Obviously, you're not going to have as many because you played most of your career with Spurs. But yeah, and then he also actually won the FA Cup with Portsmouth.
Yeah, which is also mad.
Yeah, which is also mad. 3-time PFA Team of the Year. But yeah, just all round amazing player. And yeah, I think this selection for me, I was battling a little bit players that were amazing at their prime,
Right.
and players that had longevity throughout their career.
Yeah, I ended up going longevity.
I did as well for basically all three of my picks. I think are more longevity focused. But yeah, there's, in terms of players that you could, if you could argue in their prime, were better than what we've selected so far. I think you got the likes of Michael Owen. A lot of people are going to say that
I would say Yaya Toure.
Yaya Toure was unstoppable when he was in his prime.
He was in his prime not for that long.
2 years maybe.
2, 3. I mean, he was still insane, but once Pep came in, he was pretty much done.
Yeah.
But before, he was insane. But he also doesn't get my vote because of that. Because the prime years were not enough to overtake the insane consistency of some of these guys.
And shall we move into? Do you want to give us your last one?
I mean, I just want to say a word on Sol Campbell. I think what also would make him, because I actually don't think we can disagree on this. Like, there's also players that some people hold dear to heart and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to keep it as objective as possible, but I probably will vote for Yaya Toure because he's a City player.
Yeah.
But I think that the Sol Campbell, I think what puts him in could also as a like a point that helps him go into the Premier League Hall of Fame is that he did the divide of going to Spurs to Arsenal, and it was such a big moment in the Premier League that, like, I think just a moment, like, that's an iconic moment in the Prem when he has to go back to Spurs with Arsenal and they have the huge banner of his face and they're just booing him the whole game. Like, that is iconic.
Apparently his brother was in the stands supporting Spurs as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and a lot of Spurs fans still despise him to this day. So, I mean, there's a very good chance that he will not get voted in.
From Spurs fans. I mean, Arsenal fans they'll have to do all the heavy lifting for that, and Portsmouth fans.
Exactly. So
we can move on to my
let's go on the last one. What do you got?
So this, to me, is the most underrated Premier League player of all time.
Okay, I wonder who this is.
And this guy, he wasn't even in my list. Like, when I first saw the list of 15, I was like, John Terry,
is
Ashley
it Jermaine
Cole.
Defoe?
No, it's Andy Cole. Andy Cole played for Newcastle. He played for Newcastle, Manchester United, Blackburn, Fulham, Manchester City, Portsmouth, and Sunderland. Right? He is the Premier League's 4th highest goal scorer of all time with 187 goals, right? If we take away penalties from the equation...
you say 4th highest?
4th highest, yes. The 4th highest. The only players ahead of him are Alan Shearer, Wayne Rooney, and Harry Kane.
Wow.
That's the only 3 players ahead of him. Yeah. And if we remove penalties from the equation... he's the 2nd highest goal scorer of all time. You know how many penalties he scored in his career from the 187?
14.
1.
Wow.
He scored 1 penalty.
So he wasn't a penalty taker?
No, just 1 penalty. He never took them at United. He didn't take them at Newcastle either. And he's also, his goal-to-game ratio ended up being 0.45. That's better than Didier Drogba, Cristiano Ronaldo, Romelu Lukaku, Robbie Fowler, and Wayne Rooney. So he was lethal.
Okay, but I do have a little point to add on that. The players that you have just mentioned, Didier Drogba has quite a famously bad goals to game ratio. Rooney played for ages and wasn't really there for towards the end of his career, was not banging in goals. Who else is in there? Who else?
Ronaldo, who doesn't have the greatest Premier League
he was at Man United when he was not that good.
Lukaku scored a lot of Prem goals.
That's true. Lukaku
and Robbie Fowler. Robbie Fowler, he has a better goal-to-game ratio.
Yeah.
And the same one as Jamie Vardy.
Jamie Vardy,
Same one as Jamie Vardy.
Yeah, respect.
And immediately when he joined the Premier League, he won. So they won the First Division, which is now the Championship with Newcastle. He went up to the Prem. First year there, Newcastle comes third. He scores 34 goals, has 13 assists in 40 games.
In the league?
In the league alone, in the Premier League. He had 47 goal involvements in the old-style Premier League with 40 games. And He won the PFA Young Player of the Year, but was robbed of a PFA Team of the Year appearance. He wasn't in it, and he also wasn't PFA Player of the Year. That went to Eric Cantona.
Wait, how many say the goals again?
34 goals, 13 assists. He topped the goal scoring chart and the assist chart in the same season.
What? How does he not get PFA Player of the Year?
Exactly, because he was super young, and I think because United had that magic of Cantona and stuff, so they gave it to United.
34 goals. That's up there with the record, isn't it?
At the time it was a record because it was also the inaugural Premier League season.
Bro, Premier League, what are you doing giving that to Cantona?
Cantona I think ended, I saw, with 30 goal involvements, which is still really good,
still insane,
but it's nowhere near 47.
No, 47 is insane.
47 is ridiculous. Then he moved to United for what was then a British record transfer fee. And what I said about Sol Campbell being iconic, being a record transfer player is an iconic part of Premier League history. And he was part of that. He would win 5 Premier League titles, 3 in a row. He had more than 10 goal involvements in all his seasons at United. I think the only reason what knocks him from being so underrated, first of all, he never hit the heights that he hit at that Newcastle season. He never hit over 20 Prem goals ever again. And also, I think the fact that he didn't play for England that much, because you had the likes of Alan Shearer, Teddy Sheringham, these strikers, Michael Owen, that were there when he was in his prime, that were picked ahead of him. So I think he ended up only making like 20 odd appearances for England.
Was Lineker still there as well?
No, Lineker I think was just gone.
Yeah.
But at the beginning actually he might have been. Same with Paul Gascoigne. He was also there probably when Cole was banging in for United. He only ended up making like 20 odd appearances for England, scoring only 1 goal. Also, the fact that he didn't score in that Champions League final chaos with United, with Sheringham and Solskjaer, I think also knocks him. Also, the fact that he was only a one-time PFA Team of the Year player, which is a joke. I think he's super underrated, and he really deserves to be in the Hall of Fame because he was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's the stats that you've read out there quite surprising. I didn't know that he was that that good. But I would say that I would skip him for this vote.
All right. Maybe a more longevity vote.
Yeah, maybe in a few years. I'm gonna bring in my third vote, and unfortunately, I had to go all defenders.
They have the longevity. That's the thing.
They do, but also the defenders that were in there this year were
insane,
legendary defenders. Yeah. And
you actually picked all center backs now that I see.
I have, yeah. And it's Nemanja Vidic as the last vote. I had to toss up between... I was either going to pick Rio or I was going to pick Vidic.
I had Rio over Vidic.
Really?
I was going to pick Rio just because of the passing range. I think was insane.
I think the reason I picked Vidic is because he is the definition of a no-nonsense centre back.
Yeah, he's a great...
he will just charge in, and 90% of the time, he will get the ball. He's a 5-time Premier League champion, 3-time League Cup winner, 1-time Champions League winner, and 1-time Club World Cup winner. He only actually had 211 appearances in the Premier League, but get this, he only lost 27 times. That is ridiculous. A 2-time Premier League Player of the Season,
which is insane.
I'm not sure if that's PFA Player of the Season or if that's something different. 2-time FIFA World XI, 95 clean sheets in just 211 appearances. But this is what really stood out to me, and it pretty much sums up why I picked him in terms of the no nonsense defender. So he had over his career at Man United 363 tackles. Okay. And I'm going to reference a couple of the other people that were either in the vote or that I've actually selected. Sol Campbell, and remember this is from 500 appearances, right?
Right.
216 tackles.
Wow.
Rio Ferdinand, 292 tackles in the Premier League.
Yeah, also not as many.
That is insane to make 363 tackles. I know it's a bit of a weird stat to bring up, but that pretty much sums up why...
That shows the way he played.
Yeah, shows the way he played, why I loved watching him as well.
He was fun.
He was at United in that period where I started to watch the Premier League, where I became a United fan, you know, and he stayed right up until we weren't good anymore, and he was gone, you know? And yeah, I love watching him play. He's just an amazing defender. So yeah, I had to.
I can't fault you for that
Yeah.
because Nemanja Vidic was my favorite defender during that time period. Like
Yeah.
as a City fan, I would still, when United played, and because United was so good that you'd watch him play, him and Ferdinand to me are maybe the best center back partnership in history.
They
of
were
the Premier
voted.
League.
They were voted the best centre back
As they
pairing
should,
in the
as they
Premier
should be,
League.
because those two on their day were unstoppable. And it's a shame that only 3 votes go in, because I do feel like there's other players. Like I had Rio Ferdinand as an honorable mention from the 3. I think Michael Owen. Just if we talk iconic moment with the Ballon d'Or, winning a Ballon d'Or in the Premier League.
But we talked about this today as well. His Premier League, the 2000-2001 season, he scored only 16 Premier League goals and won the Ballon d'Or.
I think it was just the Michael Owen magic. Like those goals were probably up from those 16. He probably scored 13 that were just like, how did this guy just score those goals?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Like, I don't know.
I don't know if you want anybody else, any other names you want to throw in there.
What was it? Can you pull up the list again? I'll see.
I thought Petr Cech probably had a shout. I'm pretty sure he's a goalkeeper with the most clean sheets in Premier League history.
I think so. Yeah, he was in that Chelsea team as
yeah,
well.
The one that conceded very little, won a lot as well.
I think the other one that I would have in there would have to be Rio Ferdinand. And like I said, I don't know why Michael Carrick is in that list, to be honest.
I'm not surprised. He was very good.
He was decent,
He just
consistent.
didn't pop.
Okay. But yeah, like I said before, you have to sort of choose between those players in their prime, and I think if you look at players in their prime, then you've got to put like Yaya Toure in your 3 because he
100%.
was so good for those 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So yeah, but like we said, we've gone longevity, and I think you have to go longevity for these
I think
sort of votes as
once
well.
the longevity candidates start going away, I think that's when guys like Yaya Toure can get in, where a guy like Eden Hazard will get in. When
I think Eden Hazard, even though
Eden
he
has more
didn't have the
longevity,
longevity, but he had more than a player like Yaya Toure.
That's true. Actually, Eden Hazard deserves to be there too.
Yeah,
100%.
and he will be, but yeah, he's got to retire first. So,
I got to stop sitting. I forget that he's still playing football.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really play football.
Just sitting on the bench in Madrid.
Yeah.
Okay, we've gone way off topic, but those were our 3 votes for the Premier League the Premier League Hall of Fame choice. Let us know who you pick in the comments below, why our picks were wrong, or why our picks were right, and why you're going to
I'm sure there's probably a lot of more people out there that think ours are wrong.
Wrong, yes. But we hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll catch you guys very soon.